My stomach was not feeling good.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been tough. I've
What,
just
like today or you mean yesterday?
since Friday, it's
Yeah.
been like insane. I don't
Is
know
it
why.
good now or what?
It's like okay now, but like
Hmm.
I've just been nauseous for like 4 straight days. Stomach was very
Yeah.
odd. Um.
All right.
Okay, so we are live. I just will do a normal intro for this one. Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Sideline. My name is Rishioza,
My name's Asher Hire.
and we're gonna. This is another preview. We did one before Game 3. I don't
Is
know
it good now?
why.
My bad. That was me.
You're good. We did a preview before Game 3. We're gonna do one right now before Game 5. Obviously, must-win situation for Denver. Golden State wanted to close it out on their home court. Klay Thompson said yesterday, I think, on his Instagram, he was like, first closeout game in Chase Center history. So they're going to be pumped for that. Denver has not played well in the first two games of the series against Golden State. In Chase Center, played much better at home, but they are down 3-1. Got to pull something out, another miracle if they want to be able to continue this
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, it definitely will take a miracle, especially now with Curry starting. They're going to start their death lineup. Curry, Poole, Thompson, Wiggins, and Draymond. So that'll make it even tougher, yeah. And paired with Chase Center and everything, I have the Nuggets they hung around in game 2, had that 12-point lead, and then
Mm-hmm.
everything just started to go wrong with them after that. But like most of these games have been close throughout most of the game, and then the
Yeah.
Warriors kind of break away towards the end. Um, so we'll see. Hopefully the Nuggets can fight to keep it close. I just want, if you can get a close game going into the fourth quarter and then just try to steal one somehow,
Yeah.
obviously that's what you want because you're definitely not, blowing them out at their home court.
No. No. Golden State's too good of a home team, too good of a team in general to get blown out at this point. Um, but yeah, this is going to be tough. I've already this is the expectation that I had for Denver. I thought they were going to lose in 5 or 6
Yeah.
probably. But if they win this game, Denver winning this game, it gets really dicey. Because Denver has played very good at home. Like Game 3 should have been a win for
Mm-hmm.
Denver. Um, Obviously, Game 4 was a win, and both those games were really close. But I thought Denver outplayed Golden State in both those games. So that this legit this series has a chance to be 2-2. Like it
Yeah,
should
it
honestly
really
be
does.
2-2. But instead it's 3-1. But this is tough. Like you said, Golden State is going to start their death lineup. Something interesting that death lineup was not nearly as potent against Denver when they played in Denver in games 3 and 4.
Right.
It was still very good. It was still their best lineup that they put out there, but it wasn't 204 offensive rating like it was the first couple games. Um, so that's something to
Yeah,
watch, and I think a lot of that has to do with Nikola Jokic just getting more comfortable playing. He had 37 back-to-back games, games 3 and 4. Games 1 and 2, he shot 9 for 28, I think, against Draymond Green. Really, he was really struggling. But games 3 and 4, he's 15 of 23 against Draymond Green. That's the NBA's matchup data, which is a little weird. But it's not every single one-on-one possession. But regardless, he has played much better, and that's helped solve the defensive woes or the offensive woes that Denver has against that lineup. Because the one fail-safe, the one safety blanket Denver had the entire season is just give it to Jokic and he'll pull something out. But even that wasn't working, so everyone just had no clue what to do. But games 3 and 4, they finally figured out something that worked. Jokic figured out Draymond. So be interesting to see. I think this game is going to be good because that death lineup hasn't been nearly as potent the last couple of games.
Yeah. And I think Jokic is his making 2 threes in game 3, making three
Mm-hmm.
threes in game 4, going against Draymond. I think that's what really has opened it up for Jokic because I was watching like Draymond Green's after game 3, after Jokic put up 37 in game 3, Draymond, had like his podcast or whatever, and he was saying that he got into a little mix up with Steve Kerr with Draymond's closeouts, like he's closing too hard or whatever. Steve Kerr wanted him to not close out as hard on Jokic's threes, but Draymond was like, "But coach, you hit 2 threes already," and then he goes out and hits another 3 in game 4. And I think those closeouts, because Jokic has beaten Draymond. He beats really like any player.
Yeah.
Anytime he shot fakes and then goes and dribbles, he beats like any player, no matter what, to the rim. And I think that's really what is opening up for him. And if he can, he went 0 for 8 in Chase Center from 3 in the first 2 games. If he can knock down, 2 threes, I think you have a better chance of winning. I wouldn't say it's a good chance of winning, but a better chance of winning compared to games 1 and 2. If Jokic is able to nail a couple threes.
Yeah, that's huge. I think back to the Utah series in the bubble, Jokic shot like 7 threes a game, and he was shooting like 50% from 3 that series. And that's how you beat great paint defenders and good defenders in general. You have to be able to stretch them out so that everybody else can do good as well. So Jokic, like, not only does it help him against Draymond, it helps Draymond obviously close out more. It keeps him honest to the 3-point line. But it helps everyone else get in more. It keeps Draymond out of the paint. For guys like Monte Morris, he had a great game. Bones Highland had a really good game. Aaron Gordon, he had 2 very strong games in Denver after just completely, I don't even know what happened in Chase Center. So if you're able to get good performances from at least 2 to 3 other guys, I think Denver has a real shot. But the huge key to Denver is Jokic's 3 ball. Like, when he's hitting his 3, I think he's the most unstoppable player in basketball. Because, like, at that point, there is nothing he can't do. Like, there's nothing he can't do. He's going to post everybody up. He's bigger and stronger than everybody anyway. So even if you try and muscle him, it's not going to work. He has the mid-range. He has the 3. He has the floater. He has every move in the post. Like, he's the most unstoppable player when he has that going. So expecting something big from him, but
hopefully, man.
Up to the rest.
He can't go out sad in this. Hopefully not.
I hope we don't get blown out.
Yeah. If they lose, hopefully he has like at least 30 something. I don't know, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. We're not even supposed to be in this kind of position anyways.
No.
So that's the big key on the offensive side. And then obviously the big key on the defensive side is Austin Rivers. We'll see if he starts in place of Jeff Green with the news of Curry starting. And I think we probably both think obviously that Rivers should start because Jeff Green has just been such a liability in the series with his lack of rebounding and, his shot that's just not there anymore. Minimal, like, I wouldn't say minimal effort, but just kind of, he's just like slow and just doesn't really fit. Because the Warriors are just so fast and their ball movement, getting around the whole court. Jeff Green just can't hang with that, but Austin Rivers can. And, I think he's proved that he should start in this.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think Austin Rivers behind Jokic, Monte, and Bones, I thought he was the 4th best player. I know Aaron Gordon had like 20 and 10 or something, but Austin Rivers defensively, Steph Curry was incredibly inefficient. He shot 10 of 23. Well, that's not incredibly inefficient, but in the first half, he was really struggling. He wasn't able to get anything going. He shot 3 of 10 from 3, and he's shooting like 50% from 3 in the series. So he also had 5 steals. He should have had 6 steals because he had the last inbound. He was a plus 12, which is the second highest on the team. So I'm about Bryn Forbes was the highest. He was plus 13. Don't know how that happened. But like, he has been, he defensively really in the second half of the season, post All-Star break, he has been the best perimeter defender on the team, maybe even the best defender on the team in general. He's been exceptional. And as long as he is out there, I feel confident defensively that the Nuggets are not going to be as leaky as they have been for most of the year. So we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be interesting. I think Malone starts Rivers because I think he's just waiting for him to be able to match his minutes with Steph, because it is hard to run a normal rotation when you have Steph Curry coming off the bench. So it's like, what happens? Like the main guy to guard him is coming off the bench, but I can't match his minutes because he's not going to play enough. So it's like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
That's key.
I think it is like kind of, I don't know, just watching the game, going through the game 4 that the Nuggets won, like how much it takes for everything to go right for the Nuggets to win. It's like you needed a Steph Curry inefficient game, which he had. You needed a Jordan Poole game that was bad, which he had. So you have Steph Curry and Jordan Poole both playing poorly, and you barely escape with a win, with Jokic having 37 on super efficiency.
Yeah.
And Bones doing what he did, and Monte making 5 threes in a quarter. Like that just won't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully, like Poole, like the first 3 games of this series were very like unrealistic. Like, I mean, credit Jordan Poole, whatever, but 9 for 13, 10 for 16, 9 for 13, like
that's insane efficient.
It doesn't matter how bad the defense is. Like that's just, I mean, he was getting lucky. Like, I mean, it's not lucky, but it is kind of.
It was just like shot. It was just like bad shot luck from the Nuggets.
Yeah,
and like this game 4 is just kind of regression to the mean.
Exactly, it regressed to the mean, and hopefully it, still regresses moving forward. But you never know, because guys like that can just, catch fire and everything. But
yeah, it's going to be tough. Because like even if you have Steph out there, like still, who's going to guard Poole? Who's guarding Klay? That was the biggest thing. I noticed it watching back the highlights. Jeff Green was on Klay Thompson for a lot of the shots, and I'm like, why? Like he runs off so many screens. Jeff Green was getting caught behind so many. Almost every single 3 Klay Thompson took was open or uncontested to some sort. Like it was ridiculous. So I think just having a quicker lineup out there, and I think another big thing, Aaron Gordon has been playing. Like Jeff Green only played 16 minutes on Sunday. Like when Aaron Gordon plays naturally at the 4 on offense, he is so good because he doesn't have to stay perimeter at all. He had 13 free throw attempts.
Yeah.
He was so aggressive. He's getting in the paint. He's drawing fouls. He's collapsing. Like you need that. You need that Aaron Gordon for it to be a successful offense. And to do that, you have to take Jeff Green out and you have to insert Austin Rivers. So I think that lineup is going to be great. I'm excited to see what happens with it. Because this is going to be Denver at its best versus Golden State at its best. Like that's what's going to happen for the first 5-6 minutes before a sub comes in. You're going to see both their best lineups, both their closing lineups against each other. Yeah. So it's going to be competitive. Denver's bench has to show up. DeMarcus Cousins has honestly been like good this series. I know he had the scuffle in game 2 with Will Barton, but on-court production, I think he's been great offensively. 10 points, 4 rebounds. Did have 4 fouls, but like I'm fine with bench players giving fouls. Like I'm 100% okay with it, especially Boogie, because he's not closing anyway. I loved him. I like how JaMychal Green played. Obviously, loved how Bones Hyland played. You're gonna need a game like that for Denver to win. Bryn Forbes, I don't know what it was. His role was weird. His plus minus.
The point of him kind of playing is because, like, how many I feel like he's shot like a total of like 3 threes this series.
I don't know what he's just. I don't get why he's playing. Like I don't get why he's playing. Like he's shooting fine from 3. He's shooting 40% from 3, 46% from the field. He hasn't been horrible, but like I just don't get
the games 3 and 4. He just felt like you. I mean, what is he?
You didn't even notice him out there. Yeah.
He's kind of a guy.
And it's part of like because he's probably like the 4th option out there on offense. So like, and Denver doesn't run plays for shooters. And we talked about this before. Like they just don't run sets like at all to get people open. It's really just pick and roll and let the players just play and figure it out. So that's another thing. Like Bryn Forbes is a set shooter. He's a guy who comes off of screens very well. It comes off of set plays very well and shoots very well like that. But they just don't run that. So it's hard for him to get free. Yeah, we're gonna need I think. Well, I don't think, but Will Barton has to play well, and I think he's gonna play with the bench. I hope Denver staggers a little bit. So I hope Will Barton plays with the bench, kind of takes that number one scoring role. Let Bones be a playmaker and be a secondary scorer, and let Will be a primary scorer against the bench of Golden State. See how that works.
I mean, this series is like I don't want Will Barton on the team anymore next year. Like
it's hard. Game 3 might have been the last straw.
Yeah, that was the last straw because just it really is his effort. I mean, his effort, his like IQ. We've known his IQ is, not good, but when you match that with poor effort and he's just so slow defensively, like there's just nothing. I mean, there's like nothing he can do well other than maybe he gets to the rim like once a game and hits, a couple open threes, but like defensively, I mean, there was one play Wiggins got wide open in the corner for 3. This was right after he made that wide open 3 in the corner, going down the stretch in game 3. With like 2 minutes left, he made that 3 wide open, and then he had another chance to get a wide open 3, and it was all Barton's fault. Like he's just God, it's just so bad. I mean, he's like following the ball, but then he can't stay in defensive position, and the players just blow right by him. And then the offensive rebound to Wiggins that
essentially like sealed the deal.
Yeah, and that was mostly Will Barton's fault. And he's just how you allow a rebound there when you've got 3 players, like it's 3-on-1 to get a rebound in the last 2 minutes of a playoff game, and the effort is just that.
And the worst part was
it's just like, unacceptable.
It is, and the worst part was like, not only was it Will Barton's effort, but it was also Monte Morris and Jeff Green. Those were the 3 guys on that rebound. Those are by far the 3 worst rebounders on Denver's team right now.
I think it was mostly Barton though,
because Wiggins was Barton's man.
Yeah.
But like, Barton, he doesn't box out. He doesn't play. He doesn't like It's weird because like I feel like he's tried on defense lately, but he just like he doesn't know where to be. He's slow on his feet. He doesn't move his feet well. Like I always thought it was like weird when scouts and analysts were like, oh, he doesn't move his feet well. I'm like, I never really knew what that meant. But now watching the Nuggets, I'm like, okay, I know what that means.
Because I don't know if you can see this, but like, because I literally recorded my TV screen because I was so pissed off at him. So there he is out in. You can't even see that, can you? I don't know.
Yeah,
okay, there he is on Wiggins.
This plays weird. I'm like, where is he going?
I don't know. And he allows Wiggins wide open, and thankfully it's a brick. But like he's following Draymond around.
Yeah.
Oh, and after that offensive rebound that Barton let up, so Wiggins kicked it out to Curry, who was wide open for 3. And Barton was on Poole because after the offensive rebound, Barton like went to Poole. Jokic went up on Curry, who Curry was wide open. And Barton, who was guarding Poole in the corner, ended up just ditching Poole and running to Curry. And he wouldn't have had any sort of contest on Curry because he was wide open. And Curry just passed it to Poole, who Barton just left to contest a wide open shot that wouldn't have been, affect Curry at all.
Yeah.
So it's just some of these, I don't know why he's like closing games because I don't think you can trust him.
No.
I mean, you can't trust him defensively, obviously, but even offensively.
The shot that he took.
He made that 3, but like good. That's a wide open corner 3 that Jokic set up.
Yeah.
That, an NBA player should be able to hit. I don't know.
And the shot at the end of game 3 was like, that was last straw for me. Like the defensive stuff alone, if you're able to contribute offensively, and I feel like that should be Denver's identity. It shouldn't be like, obviously you have to get stops when it matters. You have to get stops periodically throughout the game. But I feel like with the structure of this team, you have built it to be straight offense and straight buckets. But when Will Barton hijacks the offense every once in a while, like this, I know we have defended Will Barton a lot, and I still will continue to defend him because he does get a lot of unwarranted hate. But game 3 was, oh my goodness, that was like,
Yeah.
you have Jokic on Klay Thompson. You wait an extra couple seconds. He's going to be able to get a steal with absolutely no help coming from the strong side. Everything's going to be weak side. So you're going to have cutters. You're going to have open shot at some point in the possession. But Will Barton with Draymond Green on him with 10 seconds on the shot clock pulls up from 30 feet. And that was just like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And Jokic was fighting to get, like, Jokic was about to pop open.
He was about to get, you just wait like a couple seconds and you get him positioned on a switch, the switch that you wanted. And it just, oh my goodness. I don't
know what he was.
Oh my God.
I guess if he makes that shot, you're like celebrating it. But I mean, even still, it's like, what?
It's just a bad shot. Like,
and I respected Barton. And like, I think all the hate that he gets throughout his career is just unwarranted, because I think he's, throughout his Denver Nugget career, he's like, one of the best players in their history. Certainly one of the best players in this, like,
the Jokic era.
Yeah, in this Jokic era, and he's been, great as a scorer, and he used to be good defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just right now he's not a good basketball player, but the history of Will Barton, I respect him a lot. Nuggets 3-point, shooting record, as horrible as that kind of. He is the franchise leader in career makes from 3. So, I've loved Will Barton throughout his career. Just right now, he's just a bad player, and it's really just unacceptable, because the effort is just so. I mean, you can fix that effort.
Yeah,
like if he's getting blown by players, like, okay, you're just a bad defender if you get blown by players. Like, okay, whatever, you can't do really anything about that. But when you're not boxing out players that you should box out, when you're just randomly running around the court, just nowhere, like you're just following the ball without following your man, and I don't know what you're doing there. Like, they're just these things that can easily be fixed by just effort and like IQ. Like, I don't know if he's like I don't know, dude. I mean, like some of the stuff he does, it's like, how are you like sober right now? Like, because I don't know how he decides to just follow Draymond Green in the corner, who's being guarded by Jokic. Like, there's no point in helping there. And then he just doesn't even, like, I don't know I can't even describe it, because he just runs around Draymond Green, like all flailing his arms and everything. But it allows Wiggins to get wide open in the corner for 3, who he just got blown by. So I don't like, just his head's just not in the game right now at all.
Yeah, and I'm hesitant on like giving up on Will, because when fully healthy, but
I feel like
like that 7-game span was great, but like I still feel like defensively, like, he just has not brought it at all. Since the first month of the season, he has been incredibly bad.
But he does those things where he just fumbles the ball around. Like,
he doesn't have good hands.
He passes it to him in transition and just fumble it out of bounds. Like, he's done that at least 6-7 times this season. If not more, like at least 10 maybe, that he's just the ball out of bounds.
And on like back cuts. And that's the thing is, like, that didn't used to be a problem for him.
I know.
I don't understand what happened. I don't know if he's injured. It probably is. I wouldn't be surprised if he's hurt. But like, oh man, it's tough. It is tough to watch him play. And like I don't know if you trade him at this season, but I think maybe it's a Gary Harris situation where you give him until the deadline, if he figures something out, he looks like Will Barton of old, where he's getting to the rim, he's finishing. I mean, I don't think he's not going to be the Will Barton where he's dunking on everybody and, crossing everyone up and playing lockdown defense, because he's going to be 31, 32 years old next season. So he's nearing the end of his athletic prime, if he hasn't already passed it already. So like, I want to give him some time to see if he can figure something out and fit into a role offensively and defensively. But if you can't, then you look and see if you can get something back for him at the deadline. But I think Denver, knowing how little the window is, the championship window, last 2 seasons, we thought it was going to be that, but obviously the injuries took that away. I think the next 2 years, if you don't make a conference final, that window shuts very fast. And I'm not going to say it's all on Will Barton to be like the X factor, but you have to have positive defenders and you have to have high IQ players around Jokic. And right now, Will Barton has not been either of those.
I would even try to like dump his salary this offseason, like just so that you can bring in someone who can actually, because I don't think you need like great offensive players like
no, you don't need you don't need like Gary Trent or something, right? Like a guy who's really good defensively, but also can be your number one option on offense. You just need a 3-and-D guy. That's all you need because there's enough offense, there's enough shooting, there's enough creation in that starting lineup. You just need somebody other than Gordon who has the ability to take on a high-end off defensive matchup.
And that guy we are one Robert Covington away from a dynasty.
Legitimately, man. I think when the season is done, we'll go through, a season recap. And then we'll talk about the off season, but defense, point of attack defense is got to be the number one priority for Tim Connelly. No more undersized guards, please. I love Bones, but like even then, like he's still undersized.
He has gotten beat
so much
by Curry on those back cuts like 3 times in game.
He gets beat a lot.
Yeah.
I love Bones. Like I absolutely love him. That stretch in the second quarter where he just hit 3 straight 30-footers, like that was insane. But like defensively, he needs work, and I feel like Monte might be on the trade block soon as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You trade Monte Morris's contract because I don't think there's really, when Jamal's healthy, I don't think there's a point of him like,
especially with how good Bones has been.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. And so if you get rid of his contract, which you're paying him like $10 million a year, I mean, you can give $10 million a year, to like Robert Covington.
Yeah, so that's
I don't know. I mean, that's probably too cheap for Covington. Like, if you get rid of him, if you get rid of Barton, you bring back PJ Dozier, who's a free agent.
He's coming. There's no way he's not coming.
and then you give Robert Covington like, I don't know what he's, 15, 16 a year.
Yeah. A trade that I've been seeing a lot through Nuggets Twitter and like really Nuggets bloggers is some combination of Monte, Will, and maybe a first-round pick. Trade that to the Wizards, and you get back Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and another player. Maybe Rui Hachimura, maybe, or like one of the young guys.
Kuzma would be actually.
Kuzma would be another. You might have to add in like Zeke or something.
Yeah,
Kuzma. But like, I would love Kuzma, like something where a trade where you can trade off the salary and you get back quality role players, something like that. I would 100% be down.
They just need like more length. I mean, you're watching, the Pelicans. It's just a bunch of length on the team, and
the Raptors.
Oh yeah, the Raptors' length, even the Warriors' length when they got Iggy. Dude, like Otto Porter's like role on this team is completely switched, and they're taking advantage of his length, like on these cuts and everything. Like Wiggins, his length paired with his athleticism.
Yep.
Draymond Green has insane length. So, I mean, all these top teams I feel like have length. Obviously, the Suns with Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder and. And then you look at the Jazz, who have no length really outside of Gobert, and they're one of the worst defenses compared to the Mavericks. Dorian Finney-Smith and like Josh Green and other guys like that who just. I just think length is just a huge need.
I 100% agree, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for that. I think Denver, Davon Reed would be huge. I think you bring him back. You have early bird rights for him. I think you bring him back. I think Austin Rivers would be good to bring back. He's been.
I just wish Davon was just like a little like taller, I guess. Because him at like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
He's a good like defender to stay in front of people, but like just length to clog up the lane and
just to be a little more disruptive.
If Covington be a rover, dude. Like it takes so much pressure off of Jokic too.
Yeah.
Covington is just limiting all the cuts because dude, the Nuggets get beat on back cuts so much, especially by this Warriors team.
Yeah.
Like I mean, Clay's length. I didn't even say him, but when
Yeah,
he
they
cuts,
have a lot.
it's tough.
They
Yeah.
have a lot. And the big thing about why Golden State's like Steph Curry has become not a good defender, but he's become serviceable to where you don't have to hide him on anybody. You can put him on the starting point guard and be fine with it. So yeah, length huge. I bring back PJ Dozier as a must. I know he's coming off ACL injury, but when he's healthy, I think he's huge. His injury is really showing in this series. I think Robert Covington, another name that you got to bring back. You got to at least visit with.
It's gonna be. There's gonna be so many.
There's gonna be so many suitors for him because he played really well for the Clippers. I think same thing with this guy, Bruce Brown. I would absolutely love Bruce Brown, but I think he might be a little bit outside the price range for the Nuggets at this point. Maybe you can figure out some kind of sign and trade so you can get Monte and Will's salary off and you get something else from Brooklyn. Yeah, like I Bruce Brown, I think is like the perfect two guard because you look at the way he plays for Brooklyn. I mean, he plays as like a power forward essentially on offense. Like he sets all the screens, he's put in the dunker spot, and I feel like you run a pick and roll, like you know how Jamal and Jokic will run pick and rolls, but Jamal will set the screen and roll, and Jokic will be the ball handler. I feel like you do that with Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown has been such a good playmaker, in the post and stuff. Like I feel like that's a lethal offense, and he's shooting 40% from three this season too. So I feel like that, like he offensively, he's not limited as much as he was a couple of seasons ago or even last year. So he would be my number one target, but I think he might be a little pricey because he played so well in the postseason.
Yeah. I mean, there's other guys here too, like Taurean Prince.
Derek Jones would be. I would love Derek Jones.
Exactly. Kyle Anderson. I mean, there's some guys, but yeah, I think Robert Covington is the number one for me. I would prefer Covington over Bruce Brown, but I do like, I mean, he's a great passer in the post and great baller, good corner 3-point shooter. But I just think that the defense and just adding bigger players to this team is what's needed.
Yeah, no, size and length, 100%. Because Denver is so undersized right now, and Jamal and MPJ being out obviously contributes to that. But I think a lot of Nuggets fans don't see or don't realize, or maybe don't want to realize, even when you add these guys together, there's still some pretty glaring flaws about this team. And last year, when healthy,
the free agent.
Who is?
Batum.
Oh, Batum would be good. There's a lot of guys. But like even adding MPJ and Jamal, there's still flaws to the team. Last year, I don't think there were a lot of flaws because when healthy, you had Monte coming off the bench who was good. Facu was playing well. PJ Dozier was playing really well. And he was kind of the defensive guy. Both Paul Millsap and JaMychal Green were defensive pluses at that point, even if they weren't great on offense. So defensively, you were still very solid. But this team has not been that. Obviously, replacing Jeff Green with Paul Millsap, I feel like everyone thought at first that it's like, oh, are you kidding me? That's great. But I think now we're realizing why Jeff Green has been on so many different teams in his career. But JaMychal Green, obviously, offensively, he hasn't been the same. You lose PJ Dozier midway, or not even like very early in the season. You're forced to get all these new guys playing. So it'll be tough. It'll be tough to fill out every single hole, and you're not going to in one off season. But getting bigger is big. More length defensively, you got to get better. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited for next year. Every time I just think about having Jamal and MPJ back, I'm like, come on, that's gonna be so good. So, regardless of what happens,
MPJ's got the length.
He's such a good weak side defender. It's just on ball.
Not great as like an on ball defender, but his weak side defense is so valuable. And even if he does get beat off the dribble, he's had a number of he just blocks it from.
Yeah, because he's just huge. He's huge and athletic enough to make a difference if he just tries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to game 4. I mean, game 5. Not expecting a win
no.
at all. I mean, if they can somehow win this game, get it to 3-2, it's like winning 4 in a row against the Warriors. I just don't think it's.
There's no way.
Because one of these games, Curry is going to be on fire and you're just going to lose.
And game 2, was like everybody was on, and Clay's been their most consistent player
It's weird
offensively.
though, but like I don't really feel like that's the thing with Clay. Like I just don't really feel like his impact that much. Like I feel like it
I'm
depends
the
on
opposite.
really you feel it. I don't really when he knocks down a three. I don't know. I just feel like it's like is really reliant on Curry and Poole. Like because Clay Thompson's been on fire every game, and he was on fire last game. But I don't
Mhm.
know. I just didn't really feel like his threes were that.
He put up a very quiet 30 points.
Yeah, but
I will.
I feel like he's just been quietly amazing this season.
Yeah, and the reason why I think his impact has been felt is because, and this is how I view Clay. Like I just think he is like I'm more scared of when he shoots a jumper than I am with Steph. And that's really weird because I know Steph is a better shooter, but like Clay, when he is set and when he's open, it's over. Like, and that has happened so much this series. So I'm like, I don't know why. I'm just more scared of him shooting than Steph, even though like Steph is a better shooter. It sounds like the Hooper argument where it's like, oh, this guy's a Hooper instead of this guy's just better than him at basketball.
Yeah.
It's like Clay is just like a pure shooter. It sounds so weird to say it, but
I don't
that's
like.
why.
I don't know, dude. It just feels like weird. Like I can't even describe it. Like he went 7 for 11, but I don't really remember like this like huge three that he made or
Yeah.
something.
No, that is true.
Nothing. There's nothing that like moves the needle with Clay. I feel like Clay just keeps you like steady because that's what. Because if Clay's off, then it's really bad. Like if he
Yeah.
goes like 1 for 10 from three or whatever, then it's like then he's a negative.
Mhm.
But if he goes 6 for 13, 7 for 11, like yeah, that's what he's kind of there for, because he doesn't really bring you much outside of that. Like I don't think his defense. I feel like even in his career, his defense has kind of been overrated. But like I don't think his defense is that great anymore.
No, especially after the injuries, it's definitely not.
Yeah, yeah. So like I don't know, these threes just don't feel like needle moving. I guess unless he makes like three in a row, which he can. But
Yeah.
when
In the third quarter, he had a stretch where
Yeah.
he just like didn't miss. And I was certain he was gonna have like 30 in that quarter. I was
Yeah,
terrified.
I know. And then he got knocked in the head by the ball. I think that like threw him off rhythm because he missed. I think he even like airballed a three after that. I know he made a three too.
Yeah.
But I think he airballed one.
Oh. Denver has a lot on their plate because Steph is not going to shoot 3 of 11 from 3 again. You can't really count on Poole to be this bad either. I think I do legitimately think Jordan Poole is like injured, because he just didn't look the same.
Yeah.
He just did not look the same. He
I
was
mean, it feels like every game he's like reaching for his wrist or his elbow.
something with his elbow is going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's why. But you can't really count on him. And I think we're gonna feel Clay's impact on threes because if he makes 3 in a row in Chase Center and the place just explodes, it's gonna be terrifying.
I don't know. I just feel like if he just makes like 2 threes per quarter, like I just don't even feel that. Like 2 threes per quarter, that's 8 threes in the game.
Yeah.
But I just don't like. I feel like if you want to like feel Clay's impact, it is when he catches fire, and he does do that sometimes. But it's 1 out of like 5 games.
Yeah. No, Steph's impact is Steph's threes. No matter how, if you're up big or if you're down big, every single three he makes, it just feels like a gunshot. Like it just like hurts when he makes threes.
Even though you're like completely expecting it.
Yeah. Like he hit a pull-up 3 in game 4. And Denver was still up like 9 after he made this shot. And he hits a pull-up 3, and I'm like, no.
I know, because
no.
I just feel like because if he just sees one go in,
like it's
like
over. It's over.
And he started feeling that, but like thank God the game like ended.
Yeah, he was on it in the 4th.
Because he had the 4-point play.
Yeah.
I mean those missed free throws was really interesting. I like because that's kind of what lost him the game.
It was the first time he's missed 4 free throws in his career.
Yeah.
In postseason or regular.
And hasn't Poole missed a couple, like 2 or 3 this series?
Yeah, he has.
So we're getting lucky with that.
We definitely are. They went 23 of 32 from the line, which is not going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Denver also missed a lot of free throws. today too, or not today, but on Sunday. Bones going 2 for 4 was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens, but this game is going to be stressful.
It's gonna take, dude. What I would love is just a Jokic 45 piece. Just win it, eke it out at the end with him, feasting and feasting.
To me, right? I have this weird optimism about this game. I think Denver has a shot to win because I think they legitimately figured something out in games 3 and 4 because they were closer. Obviously, the home crowd did a lot to play with it. They got a lot of days in between games.
Hey, the game 3 crowd was actually good.
It was really, both crowds were much better than I was expecting. There were a lot of Golden State fans, but you could feel the impact of the crowd, which I didn't expect that at all. But I legitimately think Denver on the floor, strictly speaking on the floor, figured something out. And I think hope Jokic that plays into it.
Jokic has Draymond figured out.
He figured and it was Adam Mares talked. He posted a video about this, the game clinching steal Draymond had against Jokic, and Jokic literally took that into account. The next game, in game 4, he picked up Draymond's 5th foul on it. He was posting him up. The reason why Draymond was able to steal it is because Jokic went forward and Draymond has a ridiculously long wingspan, so he's able to poke it out. Jokic faked that because he knew Draymond was he's going to do it again. So he faked it and he was able to draw a foul. Jokic, I don't understand how he does it, but he figures things out so fast. So
he's outsmarting one of the smartest defensive minds in history.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's ridiculous. So I have the optimism because I think he's got it figured out. I think Denver has something figured out. And but Steve Kerr is obviously a very good coach. The Warriors are a very good team. They are going to make some adjustments. But if Denver is able to win this game, I think they win the series. I do.
I don't know. I don't know.
Because that's what I think Toronto is going to win the series, because if you go back and you win game 6, you make it a 3-3 game, there is no way Philly has any morale left. There's no way. And if you have confidence that you can win in Golden State,
you're
I
just think that the Warriors are just so much more
they're so much more talented. At some point, talent's gonna beat it out.
That's what I'm thinking, and I feel like that's what I'm thinking tonight. I feel like if the Nuggets lose, it could be a blowout. This could definitely be a blowout loss, but if the Nuggets keep it close, then I think they can eke it out at the end, maybe just through Jokic and everything. But I don't know. I'm not very confident about this.
I don't want to hear that crowd in a close game. I do not want to be in that atmosphere during a close game.
Yeah, that's true. What was I gonna say?
You said something about Doc Rivers.
Yeah, did you see the Doc Rivers clip of him? I do not want that guy leading my team. That guy's a joke.
I was talking with Daniel Pike about this, and he's a Raptors fan. He was like, even if Toronto wins game 6 and it's a 3-3 series, and even if Philly wins game 7 and you advance to the second round, how can you possibly trust Doc Rivers to lead your team again? How can any team look at what he has done over the course of his career? You take away the championship that he had in Boston, his career is awful.
It is almost like the Kevin Durant of coaches. With how soft their mentalities are, paired with not being able to do anything outside of an incredibly stacked team that he didn't create.
His resume outside of that championship is really bad.
Yeah.
And I think that
I'm looking at that clip, I would literally fire him after the season ends.
I was thinking, no matter what happens, there's no way you can have a guy like that leading.
I can't try. He's literally throwing all the players under the bus. He's blaming it on the bubble, the 3-1 Clippers blown lead. He's blaming it on, I think he said something about Chris Paul's injury.
Yeah, Chris Paul, and they didn't have home court, which is so stupid because you didn't have home court and you were up 3-1 anyway.
Yeah.
What the hell does bad home court have to do with you blowing it?
In the bubble, he was like, we don't have home court in game 7 in the bubble. You won 2 games
without it.
Denver.
Yeah.
that would have been at Denver. Like I don't like I would fire him after the season just because I can't trust him to
No,
lead my team first of all, and I just don't like that he's throwing the
players
players
under the bus.
because I think it's all about the players. Like, and I think that's what Mike Malone. Yes, his rotations and his his scheme. I don't think his like schemes or nothing is like amazing. Like Ime Udoka's like defensive scheme and Steve Kerr's offensive
Yeah,
scheme, and even his defensive scheme is just so much better than Malone's. But Malone has that player connection. He lets the players go out there and be themselves.
yep.
And that's, I mean, I think it starts with the players. And Doc Rivers, I just cannot look at that and see, oh, just look at the team I have in Orlando. That's
Yeah. Like, we were an 8 seed. I think it's great that we were even in the playoffs at that point. And it's like, no, you had one win to get. One win.
No,
and you didn't get it.
And he's just throwing everyone under the bus. Like,
yeah.
Sure, that Orlando team wasn't great, but
you
just can't like say that like publicly and just
yeah.
I mean, I would literally fire him. Like if I could, I would just fire him like right after that clip. I really hated what he said in that clip.
That was not.
And it's just kind of like the mentalities of him paired with Harden, paired with Embiid, like they're just kind of three kind of weird like guys.
Yeah, Embiid also like didn't really take responsibility after the loss.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're a bunch of they're all like selfish. I think like
yeah, it did not come off well. Like Embiid said, he's like yeah, like I was trying to tell James to like be more aggressive, or like he's like I wanted James to be more aggressive, but that's not my job to do that. So it's like no, you're the best player on the team. You're an MVP runner-up. It is your job to do that. Like you have to be a leader and tell him to be more aggressive. Because if you're not going to do it, other people are going to see you not do it and then not do it themselves. So I know. It is his job.
I like how Malone like takes account of like Malone would never just say, "Oh, my team was just garbage."
Like he'll call them out and he'll say that. But he always puts the blame on himself. He never puts it on anybody else.
Yeah. And Jokic would never.
No.
I mean, he doesn't even talk anyway. So, and yeah, Embiid's just clapping in front of the officials. I mean, that's a joke. Like
come on, you got to have some self-awareness.
I know that was just a horrible look. And Harden's whole attitude, I don't know. Harden, like when I watch Harden, I just feel like he thinks he's just like better than like everyone else, like both game-wise and just like personality-wise. Like So yeah, he's tough. Obviously, got the whole Matisse Thybulle situation, so he's not the smartest either. So, the Philly team, I do think Toronto is, and fine. I think Toronto is going to win the series.
Like I think that they're in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah,
like I think they have the upper hand both mentally and just like they're just playing. Like this could be 3-2 Toronto right now, basically because I think they outplayed Philly in Game 3.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think
I would love that a 3-0 blown lead, the first ever. Oh my god, and it being on Embiid too. After everyone was just clowning on Jokic, that would just be amazing.
It would be insane. Well, I was gonna say I think Fred VanVleet. I don't know if he's even going to play for Game 6. He didn't play Game 5. He was out midway through Game 4. I honestly think his injury was a bit of a blessing in disguise. He's the best player on the team. Offensively, he's the best player on the team. But
I don't know.
Defensively, he's good. He's a good defender, but his size is obviously an issue. With him out, they are playing just straight demigods out there. I mean, their starting lineup was Gary Trent, Scotty Barnes, Siakam, OG, and Khem Birch. And then off the bench, you have Precious Achiuwa, Thad Young, and Chris Boucher. That is everybody above 6'6" and with giant wingspan. Yeah. How are you supposed to do anything against that? Every single person could switch. Every single person could switch on your two best players. So you can't hunt anybody defensively. They're all good enough offensively to create for their own, but they're all good enough playmakers to pass out of bad situations. Like that team is. And I think
it shows like Tyrese Maxey these past 2 games when Fred has been hurt because Fred only played 15 minutes in game 4 and then 0 in game 5. And Tyrese Maxey in game 4 and game 5 was not good. Like, because I don't think he can use that speed to just get around when you have length like that and switching ability like that and help side, because they rotate so fast because of how athletic they are.
Yeah.
I think that really limits Maxey. I think it limits Harden's whole ability. Really, it just depends on if Harden can make his threes. And then like Embiid's got to be the guy. He has to be the guy, and he has not been the guy these past 2 games.
And
like Embiid has to step up.
Like people are blaming his injury, and I do think his injury does have something to do with his shooting. But defensively, he's been horrible the last 2 games.
Yeah,
he's really bad. And I thought it was just so funny how Philly fans were just like, "Oh, the MVP got taken out of the game because of defensive situation." There were 2 points this game where Embiid 5 straight times just got attacked defensively. He was hunted defensively. And it's just like,
to mention, didn't Embiid get taken out of the game against Denver and Philly?
Yes. it's like Philly fans do not understand context. It's like, why would Golden State had 5 guards out there? Why in the world would you put a center out there? There is maybe 2 centers in the entire world right now who could guard that. I don't even know 2. Bam Adebayo is the only guy who can switch on the guards and competently guard them as a big man, especially in a situation like that, and especially against the guards Golden State has. Like, why would you put your center in that situation? Just like, use your head, man. It's not because Jokic is bad on defense, because it just makes sense. Why would you put him in that situation?
Yeah. So that's an interesting series. I don't think, I don't know. If Denver wins this game, I still don't think they win the series, but I do think the Raptors are going to win.
The Raptors, it's a different situation with Toronto than Denver, because I think Golden State's better than Philly. And I think that Golden State has players who are better equipped to handle adversity like that than Philly is.
Mm-hmm.
I think with how Philly lost last season, and something similar might be happening right now, I don't know if they're mentally ready to handle it. And a lot of it goes on the coach. A lot of it goes on their top 2 players have not, being played up. And this is why I didn't really trust Philly in the postseason, because their styles of play don't match, and notoriously they haven't played well in the postseason. So like, it just, I don't know. It didn't make sense for them to play well.
Yeah, I would definitely like it's not even anything about like Jokic and Embiid or whatever, like that. I just don't like their team and their attitudes, and especially this Doc Rivers. I know Doc Rivers has been, a now known like clown and everything like that, but I really did not like what he said.
That was rough. That's a
bad look.
Like, not only is that a bad look for Philly, but like, he is not going to make friends around the associate. Like, he's not going to get another job by saying.
But I just can't see that person like leading a team to the finals. Like, there's just no way, because he's just self-centered. But everyone, that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone on this team, it feels like is, at least the stars are like self-centered. Like, Embiid is, I think, and that was a bad look of him clapping at the fans. So just his antics, like I don't like at all. Harden obviously throughout his career, no one really likes him. So, I don't really like that team. And hopefully they blow a 3-0 lead, because that'd be
hilarious. That'd be so funny. Like, I feel like it's going to happen at some point over the next few seasons, because like, I feel like 20-point leads now, like, aren't anything. Like, you can come back from a 20-point lead pretty easily in an NBA game. The 3-1 lead is 100% not what it used to be. We've seen more in the past, 5-6 seasons than we have at any point before then. So I feel like the 3-0 lead is kind of the next insurmountable type of thing to happen. So I think it'll happen over the next.
I also just think the talent level in this league is just so
high
than it's ever been. So I think that allows for more, comebacks like that too. Because I'm watching the Bulls Jazz series and everything. Like, could you imagine if like Karl Malone just looked like he was like LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, I think LaMarcus Aldridge in that era would literally be like Karl Malone. Like, could you imagine a Karl Anthony Towns in that era? Curry, like John Stockton, like respectfully, is I don't know, like nothing is just that impressive about John Stockton. I don't think that would translate to this NBA.
Gilbert Arenas said something very good about that. He said he was he thought that this era was much better than the previous ones, and I agree with him. And he said his reasoning was like, you just look at the athleticism, you look at the skill level, you just look at the straight up talent. Like people were struggling to guard prototype one of Kevin Durant in the 90s, and that was Grant Hill, right? Like Grant Hill before the injuries, he was putting up 25 and 7 and 5, and he was an all-star. He was all NBA talent. He was doing everything. And that was with him not having a jumper. It was with him not really having a handle. It was just with him being the most athletic player in the court of all time. You put Kevin Durant in the 90s, who's guarding him? Who's checking him? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. You put guys in this era, and I know the revolutionization of the revolution of the three-point line has done a lot for that. Like if you have a guy shooting 10 threes game in the 90s, they're going to cut you immediately. But like you get a guy with that skill level and that talent, like it's just going to change everything. Okay, the talent level is just so high.
I mean, you look at like Reggie Miller. Like I think it's clear that like Klay Thompson is a better shooter than Reggie.
Yeah.
Like, Reggie Miller was the best shooter before Curry, and I just don't like see it. Like Curry and Klay is just so much better. Like Jordan Poole can do things that Reggie Miller could never do. I mean Jordan Poole in that era, like I just feel like that speed and dude, Jordan Poole is unstoppable in that era, and like I feel like. I mean, dude, like you put LeBron, like I think LeBron's better than Jordan. Like, skill wise,
yeah. I think if you just look at pound for pound basketball, like there's no argument that you have for Jordan over LeBron. I think because like if you just look at it like this, LeBron is a better passer. I say equal as a defender. You look at him in their prime. I think he's equal as a scorer, and LeBron is a better rebounder, and I think he is. I mean, I think he's there's not really an argument that you can have to say that Jordan is like unequivocally better than LeBron. Because put him in that era with like, not as many athletic people.
Yeah, I don't really like. I don't really like bringing up like the whole era thing because it's like, oh, Bob Cousy shouldn't have made it. Like, do you see Bob Cousy and everything? Like, yeah, I mean, obviously, like probably there's millions of people better than Bob Cousy at basketball right now compared to him back then. But back then they didn't have the technology. They didn't have this like evolution of strength. They didn't have the weightlifting, technology and everything like that. So and they didn't have the experience to know, don't shoot a basketball like how they were shooting like because they didn't know what they were doing. So I don't really like the whole era kind of argument because the game should get better. But yeah, obviously the skill talent is at its best right now.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's just so tough with Jordan and LeBron, because if Jordan was in this era, he probably would have been bigger. He would be able to shoot the ball, that's for sure.
Yeah. He would have focused on shooting more, 100%.
Yeah. So I just think with the game evolving, the players evolve too and they get better. And like saying Bob Cousy shouldn't make the NBA 75 or whatever with all his accolades and everything, and clearly one of the best players in that era. Like, I just think it's tough. So
no, yeah, you're 100% right. It's so hard to compare them. Like, I think there are players who you can compare era to era because they're just general, like Wilt Chamberlain, because of just how insane he was. MJ, Larry Bird, Magic, Kareem, like those type of talents you can flip flop in the air just because of how good they were. But like, I think if you look at, I think Karl Malone is a really good example. Like, what would he be in today's era? I don't really know. Like, he might just be a really good, maybe a better defending LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like, that might be what he is. Like people saying MJ is going to just be like DeRozan. Like, no.
MJ would have evolved his game, and so
like he would have done something different.
Yeah.
It's tough. Other playoffs, Celtics sweeping your championship pick, Brooklyn.
Okay. I was not expecting. I knew Ben Simmons was I was not expecting.
I didn't think this was gonna happen.
This pathetic, like this situation right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, Stephen A. I don't know if you saw that clip, but I feel like he just put it. I mean, it's one of the most pathetic like situations I've ever seen because, like, I don't even think he's like hurt. Like, it is. I mean, I
It's
know it's a touchy like subject about like mentally and everything, because maybe he is going through a lot of stuff mentally, and he is,
yeah,
clearly. So, it's tough
yeah.
talking about that, but it's also like this is just a game of basketball, and you requested the 20 million whatever when you're not playing. Like that's just
Mhm.
I don't know. Like I wasn't expecting him to just not play the series, I guess. And
I thought he would play at least one game.
yeah,
It's just so weird. And like I understand him not playing game 4, but why not play game 3 is my question. Like your team needs you. They clearly need you. They could use a guy who's a good playmaker, who's a good finisher, and most importantly is a good defender. They could use that. Even if it's just for 10, 15 minutes, just a spurt of it would help. But the fact that he didn't play is it's just weird. It's
and
so
really, I just was overrating, I guess. I don't know why I chose the Nets, because everything about the Nets like contradicts like my thinking of how to build the championship team. It's just two scores, and when one of the scores are off, or when both of the scores are off, you lose every single game. So there's no playmaking, no ball movement or anything. So I don't know really why I like the Celtics going into it. Like I like their defense.
Listen, I picked Brooklyn to win the series too. I mean, Jason Tatum's defense, incredible. I knew he was good. I knew he was a great defender, but what he put on against Kevin Durant was like all defense first team level of clamps. Like I have not seen him do that. He looked like prime Paul George, right? When he was like top 3 defensive player of the year, like he looked like that.
Yeah.
And it was insane. He's
I think
efficient when he shoots. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, I think the Celtics are winning the championship. I mean, like
There's no way if
you
they
look
keep
at
playing like this, like who's
yeah,
beating them?
I know. I mean, you look at like last year, a worse Brooklyn Nets team took the eventual champions to 7, and now it's just a complete sweep of a team that actually has Kyrie this time.
Yeah.
Like, and Harden was on that team last year, but he wasn't doing anything because Kevin Durant kept shooting the ball just as like scorers do and not allowing any ball movement or anything. So,
No,
the Celtics beat a
Boston.
better Brooklyn team that took the eventual champions last year to 7. I think Boston is just and I mean, even if you put them against the Warriors, like their defense, I feel like could
They're one of the only defenses that can probably compete with that.
Yeah.
Because they can switch around everybody. It is insane. Their defense, both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I think they're got to be in conversation for the best duo in the league. I think them and PG and Kawhi are 1A 1B in terms of top 2-way duos. They have depth. Getting Robert Williams back, huge. Al Horford's been great. Their role player's been so good. Grant Williams, I don't understand how he got this good at shooting, but he's been great for him. Peyton Pritchard's had some huge games. Derek White's been consistent. Like they are legit. They are legit. And if Chris Middleton is out for the second round, which it looks like he still might be because of how easily Milwaukee's been beating Chicago, that's going to be. I think Boston has a pretty easy walk to the conference finals. They look like one of the only teams that can defend every single team in the league right now.
And then I think they beat the Heat, in 5.
I did. Yeah, it looks that way. Like it is. Whew, it's tough. That team is good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you can even I don't think their defense is so good. There's not going to be a game where they're just out of it. Like, even if Tatum is off, and he's been off a couple games this series, like efficiency wise, and they still won the games. Like, 5 for 16, 19 points in game 2, and you win it, and 13 for 29 in game 3, and they win it. Like, I mean, Jaylen Brown too. Like, you can have these off nights, but that defense just keeps you in the game and literally just wins you the game. Like, that team is just amazing.
They're so good. Yeah, I think that I think they should be the championship favorite right now. I think the odds favorites is Boston versus Golden State, which might be what I'm taking right now. I think Phoenix with Devin Booker healthy, um, is in there, but like Golden State, the way they're playing, both defensively and offensively, I think that would be an incredible series. Them in Boston. Dallas going up 3-2 against Utah. Utah is completely in the mud. This is tough. I've watched one game of this series and it was game 2.
Yeah.
But like I just like don't care.
I know. I don't either. I don't care either. It was game 2. Which was the one with the game-winning alley-oop?
That was game 4.
Oh, that was game 4. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've watched, and the other one, it's just like
I just like don't like I don't care about who wins this series. Most of it because it's just like I know Dallas should win. The fact that they were up 2-1 without Luka told me all I needed to know. Utah got a little lucky with game 4 happening. I think Dallas closed it out in 6.
And Donovan Mitchell has been horrible.
He's been really bad.
Entire series.
If they get first rounded, there's going to be some tough conversations in Utah.
It was tough because I love Donovan Mitchell. Like after that bubble run, my respect for him went like so high.
Through the roof.
Right now, it is looking like really bad. I mean, he's just shot chucking, and he hasn't made over like 50% of his shots in any of the games.
No.
9 points last game. Yeah, but same with you. I don't really care. Like, and I find this series kind of like boring, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, game 4 was cool, but like other than that, I don't know. I don't really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Zach LaVine is out tonight. So Milwaukee should have.
That is bad because I thought the Bulls could have given.
Without Middleton, I was like, this is gonna become interesting now, and it got worse. Like I mean,
understand. DeMar DeRozan really is like, my God. I mean, that is an actual playoff choker. Like,
I don't understand how it happens every single season. I legitimately don't know how it's every single season.
Like, and I don't really like. I mean, it's just another game. I don't know. Like, what is affecting him? Like, is it the crowd? Is it just the? I don't know. I just feel like it's just another like game in each of these playoff games, but he's just.
I don't know. Like, does the pressure just get to him that much? Like, I know he is very outspoken about his mental health and stuff, and like the same thing with like the Ben Simmons situation. Like, I don't want to judge anybody for that, but like this has gone on his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand what it is at this point. Like, it's insane. It's like he hasn't had like game 2 was great, but then they switched Drew Holiday on him, and Drew Holiday just completely took him out of the entire equation.
And then Zach LaVine hasn't done anything. He's been disappointing, like really disappointing. Because I thought, I don't know, he just looks really like not good in the series. I mean, he's just not, he's only shooting like 13 shots. I don't know.
I think he has to be the number 1 offensive guy.
I
really want to see how this team looks with Lonzo. But with this variation of it, I think LaVine is a better player than DeRozan. So I think having LaVine as the main guy, creation-wise, would help. I think he's a better playmaker. He had 13 assists last game. I think he's a better player. I think he's the better scorer at this point. Let DeRozan play a little more of a secondary ball handler, secondary scorer role.
Grayson Allen has been amazing these past 2 games. 22 in game 3, 27 in game 4, 11 for 14 from 3 in the past 2 games. Bobby Portis has really stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee does have a good team.
They do. I think like Boston, Milwaukee in the second round is going to be ridiculously good. Like it has a potential to be an all-time series because even though Boston defensively is so good, they still really don't have anybody to guard Giannis. Like Robert Williams, I guess, but he's coming off an injury. Do you really want 250-pound Giannis barreling into him every single play? They're coming off a surgically repaired knee.
But I do think because guarding Giannis, I don't think is just a one-on-one like thing. It's a whole collective team effort, and I feel like I trust Boston's like team effort and their philosophy, and everything to stop Giannis. So I would still take Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, if Middleton's out, like I might even take him in like 5 or.
It's gonna be that series is like it could be like a 5 or 6 game series, but it is gonna be competitive every single.
Yeah. Because the Nets games were competitive.
Yeah, it was a sweep with a 12-point differential.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. Like every game had an average margin of 4.5, and it was a sweep. So 2 or 3 plays go the other direction.
Yeah.
Maybe Brooklyn sweeps. Like it was incredibly close, but the crunch time execution was just on a different level for Boston. And Milwaukee. I know they won the championship last year, but they are such a stupid team sometimes. Like they have very little IQ. Once again, it starts with the coach because Budenholzer is, I don't know. I don't know how he does it. But I think if you get into a crunch time situation, I trust Boston more than I trust Milwaukee.
Yeah. And the other low IQ team is the Timberwolves.
Oh my God.
They lost. That was a great game by Ja.
Yeah, he finally had like that moment.
I know,
a superstar moment.
Yeah, he did.
He needed it. This series has been so good. Every single game has been really good.
Yeah. I didn't really even like fully realize Minnesota blew another huge lead.
They did, yeah. They were 13 in the fourth.
Yeah. That was with Cat like shushing the crowd.
Yeah.
And the Grizzlies came back right after that.
Yeah. Brandon Clark is good. 21 points, 15 rebounds. He had 9 offensive rebounds.
Jeez.
Huge. I think Memphis, regardless of what happens in the offseason, I think Denver should try and pry somebody from Memphis because they have so many of these young guys. You're giving Ja Morant's up for an extension this season. It's going to be a supermax. You got to decide whether you're going to play Jaren Jackson. You got to decide whether you're going to play Dylan Brooks. You got to decide when you're going to play, not if, but when you're going to play Desmond Bane. Do you re-sign Tyus Jones? What happens with Kyle Anderson? What happens with all your young guys like Melton, Clark, Tillman?
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys who are up for big money. And I think that they have an opportunity to offload some of them and get some stuff back. So I think, a guy like Brandon Clark or a guy like Xavier Tillman, a guy like Kyle Anderson, somebody who might be willing to do a sign and trade with Memphis or maybe just a straight up trade to get something back so they don't lose them for nothing, I think would be beneficial for Denver. But Memphis does have bird rights on almost every single one of these guys. So they could logically re-sign most of them and be in good shape. Minnesota, they are so dumb.
Yeah, they are.
They're so stupid. The Memphis too. Like I'm not letting them off. They are also very dumb.
Shot by Russell at the end.
My God.
I mean, these guys like Russell and Cat have been in the league too long to.
Yeah.
Stuff. Like because Minnesota's team, outside of Edwards and like Vanderbilt, it's not really like young team.
You can't classify them as a young team anymore.
I mean, Towns is like 26. I mean, he's been in the league forever. D'Angelo's been in the league forever. Beverly, obviously.
Yeah.
Like Edwards really is the only like young like guy on the team because I mean Vanderbilt is, but like he's not like a guy you kind of rely on.
Yeah. Like Malik Beasley playoff experience. Torian Prince playoff experience.
Yeah.
Obviously Cat, Beverly, D'Lo. Like that's 5 guys who have legit experience. Like the only guys you could say are inexperienced are Jordan McLaughlin, Jaden McDaniels, and Naz Reid, and Vanderbilt and Edwards. But like the guys off the bench, like they're the guys who aren't making the mistakes. It's the starting lineup who's making the mistakes.
Yeah.
Like Edwards gambling on a steal at the end of the game, Cat and Russell's shot selection towards the end. It's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know who wins the series though. I mean, I would say Memphis because they're up 3-2, but all these games have been good. I mean, obviously Minnesota should have won these last 2.
Yeah, they should have won in 5, honestly. And I think Memphis wins this series. I think they close it out honestly in 6, because
I do too.
Like every single game Memphis has won, it's felt like they've been in control the entire time. Like game 2, there was a blowout from the get-go. Game 3, they came back from 25-26, but they dominated the entire second half. Like it was their game in the second half, and they dominated it.
Yeah.
Even in this one, fourth quarter, they pretty much dominated the fourth quarter. They controlled every single thing. So they've been in control in all 3 of their wins. But when Minnesota wins, it didn't really feel like they were in control. It felt like Memphis was right there the entire time. And it's because it was 2 very close games. But like, I never really thought Minnesota was going to win any of the games that they lost, even though a couple of them were close.
That's true. And I think like just the emotional kind of defeat, I feel like Minnesota could be feeling like, because even when they're up big, you don't even.
It's still in the back of your mind. It's like, are we going to choke this again? Really?
Yeah. So
this series has lived up to the expectations it had. Suns Pelicans have been really good. Pelicans are going to be so good next season. They're going to be the next season's Memphis, like a fringe playoff team, make some noise in the first round, but then next year they're just going to explode because you get Zion back, you get more experience with Herb, you still have CJ, so Ingram, like Larry Nance is still going to be there. You get Trey Murphy with a bigger role. They're going to be so good. Alvarado, oh my God, I love Jose Alvarado.
I know, I do too.
He is so fun to watch. And he was getting booed in a playoff series as a rookie because he's good at basketball. Like that's hilarious.
Yeah, I really hope the Pelicans can.
It'll be tough.
Through. Yeah, I know.
Because Campaign finally had a good game. Mikal Bridges went off. DeAndre Ayton has been consistent all series. Chris Paul back to scoring again. So it'll be tough. You can't allow Mikal Bridges to get 31 points. And also 4 blocks.
Yeah, I know.
So
yeah, some of those shots Mikal was hitting, it's like, that's not really his game.
Yeah. Also, he played 47 minutes.
Yeah.
He's never missed a game in his career, and he played 47 minutes in a must-win playoff game. That's insane. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's
that's
it. Rockies a bit of a slide, but hopefully they win. Ryan Feltner getting the start, the one pitching prospect that we remembered.
Yeah.
Broncos re-signed Melvin Gordon last night. I really like that. I guess we'll talk more about football and baseball once the Nugget season is over. But see what happens in Game 5. It's going to be stressful. Take a lot of years off our life.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just always trying to go into every game like just relaxed and just enjoy it, but then it just gets.
The second Golden State goes on run, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's like, of course.
It's tough. It's tough to stay composed during this. All right, that's gonna do it. Probably we'll do a recap. Are we gonna do a recap after this? If we lose, we can do it.
Okay. I don't know. I think I have something that I have to do tonight.
Okay.
With people, but I don't know if like we're doing it. But
okay, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll do a recap at some point whenever the next season ends. So,